In my life, my first dramatic experience was losing my father. It's like I'm just like a Catholic school girl with my mom's a doctor, so is my dad. I grew up like very sheltered and protected, and all of a sudden I'm like with like a mobster. I understand why you fell in love with him. I just don't know what you're still doing with him. You know, my mom was married and divorced 5 times.
My mom too, 6 times.
Oh my God, don't tell me you're gonna show me a letter or something that I wrote you, because I'm gonna cry.
Did you go to Forest?
Oh my God, I love the Forest and Hialeah.
Hi everybody, welcome to Unscripted with Adri. I'm Adri, and I have been waiting for this conversation for way too long. All of you are gonna know exactly who she is. She's drop dead gorgeous, controversial, and Miami's own Cuban Barbie. My great friend, Alexia Nepola, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. What a beautiful introduction.
Well, it's true.
Thank you.
You know,
I love you, my friend. It's been so many years of friendship. I've been so happy and proud of you that I'm here today. You're doing exactly what you are meant to do. And I love you're doing it in English, though. I was like, was it going to be Spanish or English? But I love that you're totally bilingual like me.
Yes.
And it's a great thing, you know, to be able to live here in Miami and to be fluent in both languages. Mm-hmm. And thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh my God, finally I get to see you because, well, I saw you recently. Mm-hmm. I presented you with an award at the New You Beauty Awards that you truly deserve. What was the name of the award?
The Beauty and Tastemaker.
That's right.
Beauty Award. Yes.
Because on the show, you're always impeccable, like from head to toe. And listen, this is not new, you guys.
Yes, okay, I don't have time, but
you don't have time, and you look like $1 million every day on the show.
I'm just saying because you know there's a lot. You know, we have a schedule.
Yeah.
And you know the thing is like what people don't understand is that the show my life doesn't revolve around the show. The show revolves around my life.
Right.
So if I'm really like at the beauty bar working, you know, I have to run from there, go home, you know, get dressed for like an event, you know, that all the girls are doing at 5 o'clock. So, you know, it does interfere with your daily life. But the truth is that I had a life before the show and I continue to have a life without the show.
And you still look $1 million off camera and on camera. She's a natural beauty. Let me tell you, we met when we were, I think it was middle school. And we met through a mutual friend, Normie Bandrich, may she rest in peace.
Yes.
Normie. And I remember that we had fake IDs. Yes. We grew up in the 80s in Miami in the hardcore cocaine cowboy time, like hardcore. And we had fake IDs and we were at all the clubs. And Alexia would stop traffic. Like she was always the most beautiful girl in the room. It's true.
Thank you.
It's true.
I had a pretty face, I guess. And so were you. You were beautiful too, and you continue to be beautiful.
Thank you.
And we should be proud about that because it's not like we're so young. And but we're not going to talk about that. But the fact that we're still here, we're healthy. I have so many friends like Normie that we talked about that unfortunately is no longer here with us. Mm-hmm. And other friends from high school, you know, that we've lost. So it is a blessing to be here, to be healthy and to still look and feel good.
Exactly. That's what counts, to still be here, be alive and feel good on the inside. Mm-hmm. And yeah, why not? It's nice to look good on the outside too,
and
right?
You know, we're like Latina. I feel like because since we're Latin, we've had that since we were little. You know, we had like our moms and our grandmas that, you know, cared so much about beauty.
Especially the Cuban and Colombian. Mm-hmm. Like the Cuban women, I remember when I was growing up, they always looked amazing. Even like the 75-year-old grandmothers.
Yeah, that was my grandmother.
Always well put together from head to toe. Yeah. And Colombian people too, like Colombian women, you know, they take the skincare very seriously, you know, and how they dress and everything. But I want to go back to the 80s. So we love the
80s. We need like a whole part for just
well, we're
the
going to do 2 parts, okay?
Okay.
So in the 80s, we used to go clubbing. I don't know if you remember. First, it was 1235, which was at 1235 Washington Avenue.
Yes.
Remember those days?
Passed by, well, I live on the beach, so I pass by there all the time. Okay. And there's not one time I don't walk or pass by there that all those memories come to my mind. Yeah. Those were the good old days.
Explain to everyone, what were like the 80s like? Everyone was so glamorous, remember?
It's like unexplainable. Because first of all, we wanted to be doing, you know, a lot of things that at our age, you know, I guess it's happened with every generation that you kind of shouldn't be doing, you know, according to your parents, which is like be at a club when we're 16 years old that we already had fake IDs. But for us, it wasn't really about drinking.
No, like, we never were drunks. We were all about going.
The guys, looking good.
And the guys.
Right. Right. So for me, it was more about that too. But, so that's why I guess we never got in trouble that way because, I really didn't like to drink or anything. For me, it was just like I wanted to be there.
Yeah.
I wanted to be seen.
Yes. You wanted to be seen. And then there was a fear of missing out. God forbid we would miss a Friday at 12:35 that then turned into Club Z and then Club New. Did you ever go to Backstreet in Fort Lauderdale?
My mom loves to remind us, well, not anymore because my mom's no longer with us either. But my mom used to tell us, why do you think I have a heart problem? Between because there was no cell phone, so our parents would let us go out, and they didn't know we were driving a car. We were drinking. Like I said, I didn't drink, but my sister did, and we would go to Fort Lauderdale, and there was no Google Maps. There was we didn't even know how to get there. What exit? It was like crazy, but it was so
29.
good.
Exit 29. I still remember.
Stop.
I remember everything. Like you're like sometimes floored when I tell you, hey, do you remember this? And you're like, what? How did you remember that?
I lost a lot of my memory with Frankie's accident. And I see it. And I see it because it was kind of like that affected me so much that it did affect so many areas in my life, that I've kind of blocked out, or I think it's just because I've had so much in my brain that I've had to
No, it was traumatic. Frankie's accident was traumatic.
It really changed our life. But I'm happy that I have you and you remember everything because it's exit 29. Now, you say it comes to my mind.
Yeah, I was going to say you probably forgot, but then when you hear the words or you remember the situation, then you snap and you remember, right?
For sure.
Because that's how it's been with us.
Yeah, but Backstreet wasn't all the time because that was like a special treat because we knew we were getting in trouble because we were going to get home late. We would get
6
grounded.
6 a.m. You know what? My mom, Miami's changed a lot. Listen, my mom, she wouldn't really get nervous because she knew that I was at one of 5 or 6 clubs in Miami. Like that, Miami was way safer.
Yes.
She could get in her car and go to one of 4 or 5 places and find me.
Por los pelos.
Sácame por los pelos si me veía. Did you go to Forest?
Oh my God, I love the Forest in Hialeah. And what was the other one after? Was it Casanovas? Oh my God, it was so hard to get in there on Sunday nights.
And the Delinquents.
Oh, of course.
That was scary.
I love Delinquent. I loved it's in the past.
You had a thing for bad boys.
I did.
You did.
And by the way, so did you, my friend.
I did.
I must confess. I think we could bond with that.
Yeah. I think that it was a thing in middle school and high school. I had a thing for bad boys. But then when I was in my 20s, that I saw that they actually unalived my boyfriend's neighbor's brother, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done.
Right.
Because
it got scary when you live it through your own.
And I went to the funeral and I was like, whoa, no more bad boys for me.
Right.
No more bad boys for me. And that was the end of it. But
for me, it was more not just the bad boy in itself, by what he did or looked like, but to me, it's kind of I saw it as an experimental project, which I kind of have carried on throughout my life. I wanted to fix them.
Yes.
I saw the good in them. And for me, it was just a project. I want to fix them and I want to change them. And throughout all these years, I've learned that you can't fix a man and you can't fix anyone. And then you end up fixing yourself. You're the one that has to fix yourself.
You have no choice.
Yeah. So I'm done with that.
Yeah. No, I see. I know. I was done with that a really long time ago.
I feel like it gives you the same lesson until you fully learn it. And I think I have learned it. Yeah. And, I always wanted to see the good, even though I dated bad boys and even married them. I want to say that I wanted to see the good and they had a good heart and they had other things.
And everyone has a good side. But sometimes the bad is horrible.
Right.
But I want people to know the Alexia that I know, because I know you have an amazing human side to you. I remember when I did the seminars for kids and you owned Venue magazine, which, by the way, the most beautiful magazine ever.
Thank
I
you.
wish you would open it again. I look up to Venue for my magazine.
Good. I know. I see it and I'm so proud of you and happy that you're doing it. And I love the print world, even though the world of print has changed so much.
It has.
But I'm still so old school. I love to pick it up, see it, touch the paper, read through it. So for me, I'm always going to be a magazine girl. But even when we still had the magazine, the last year, we had to venture into digital because a lot of our clients were wanted that.
That
they
was
wanted to print.
2015.
Correct.
Right? Yeah, things were changing a lot. But you know what? I feel now the printed magazine is making a comeback.
I love that. I think so many things are making a comeback, and I'm all about a comeback.
Yes, because like
whether it's with people or with like brands or, you know, whatever it is, I just feel like everything from the past works so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's so many advantages and, you know, technology, and I'm not going to, you know.
Digital world is amazing, but I find that people, like you say, they love to go to a cover party and not see a magazine digitally up on a screen.
Right.
They want to touch it, you know? But
I
going
want to
back,
see it like that.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
have to send it to me for the beauty bar.
Of
so
course,
we can have
yeah. I have some in the car. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you
sure.
for helping me, my
Because
friend.
that's how you go there. That's what you see. You
Yeah.
know, I want people to still read magazines and books.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
So I was saying that there's a human side to you. And I remember that when I did the seminar for kids and I said, can you help me? And you said, well, what can we do to help? Like, you know, I'll do anything. What do you need, my friend? And we sat down in the office and Breako, remember? And then we went to the little bakery and we had the macaroons that were so delicious. And then you gave me
Your
a free,
memory is incredible.
I
by
know,
the
I
way.
know.
Wow.
I'm never gonna have what is it called? Alzheimer's.
Right.
And then so we had the macaroons, and then you said, well, what can I do for you? And then you said, look, I'll give you a free page ad. And it was a large magazine. I mean, a 1-page ad was like at least $5,000.
Yes.
I'm assuming back then.
Back then, absolutely.
And you gave me that ad, and I remember I got phone calls. I never told you, so thank you.
Yes,
I got
of
phone calls
course.
from people that saw the ad and actually registered their kids in the seminar, which that's something that I want to do.
I remember you should do that.
I don't have time.
I mean,
'cause
now they call them like master classes. No,
Yeah.
but I mean, I
guess.
don't know. But, you know, the beauty of that is that you help so many people. You never know, like, whose life you can touch.
Oh,
and
you know
change.
what? Like Carlos Adian from En Casa con
Sí, I
Telemundo,
know Carlos.
he was my student.
No way.
Yeah,
Me
and
too.
a lot of the girls that went to my classes, they went off to win beauty pageants and stuff like that. So going back to what I was saying, that on the show, we often see an Alexia that's always put together. And I feel maybe it's the way that they edit, but you come on as a very strong character. And I think that it's from everything that you've been through in your past, but there's a human side to Alexia. Like you went through a lot with your first husband and you had to face raising your 2 boys while he was in jail. Walk us through that briefly, if it's comfortable for you to talk about that. You know, who helped you?
Let me go back to, so I'm a strong person. And, you know, I think that that's been like my biggest blessing, that I'm so strong and I find strength to kind of like overcome the obstacles and challenges that I've had in my life. And I think that's hereditary. I had a really strong mother figure and a really strong father figure as well. So I believe that, you know, it has a lot to do with genetics. And that was the example that I had. You know, like my mom back in the day, it was like there was no time for like crying or like feeling depressed. Like, no, like you're not depressed. Like, you know, you're not, and don't play victim, and we're not going to feel sorry for you.
That's
Can't feel
very
sorry for yourself.
that's very Latino.
Very Latin.
My mom would say, I don't have time to be depressed.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, what do you mean?
Same. And even though my mother was a psychiatrist and she was treating patients, because, you know, depression is, you know,
thing.
a real
It's a
thing.
real thing.
And obviously, you know, she would, you know, there was medications as there is today, you know, and so I saw all of that. But like she would fix, you know, and help her patients. But in my house, that was not allowed. And so I think, like I told you, it's primarily genetics. And then, and thank God, you know, that I do find that strength and that I am that strong, because, you know, I've overcome a lot of things that a lot of people wouldn't have been able to.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I am a single mom, but so
that was the first thing. So like in my life, my first dramatic experience was losing my father. Like I didn't even know about death, because that's another thing that Latinos do. You know, like they don't really, like I would never really go. I would hear of the funerarias, you know, the funerals, but like they wouldn't take us or anything like that. So, you know, the first like traumatic experience in my life was losing my dad at such a young age. I was 23 years old. And,
I met your dad. I remember going, he was a doctor.
Yes.
And I remember going with Normie and with you to see him after school one day. And he was so nice.
Yeah.
He had the office on Bird Road or
Coral Way.
Coral Way.
Yeah,
you
and nobody
see?
also had it on Bird Road
And
too.
you see, my memory.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah, I remember. But so how were you able to navigate through that healing process and mourning?
With my mom. My mom helped me a lot when I lost my dad. And then what I did was, which a lot of women I feel do, but I'm going to speak about myself. You know, the love that I had lost with my dad, I try to look for it in a man, and that's the father of my kids.
Okay, Peggy,
So,
right?
Peggy, right.
Peggy.
So I lost so I lost my dad and all that happiness, but then I met the dad and he brought me like that love and, and happiness, that I was, longing for, because I had lost my dad and I didn't know how to deal with death. Even though I went to see a therapist and, back in the day, they used to like to put you on prescription medication, which I never took.
Thank God.
So,
that's
but,
good.
I kind of substituted like my dad's love and his loss, with begging. And I felt super in love with him. And a year later, like they're knocking on my door and he's being arresting.
And did you have any idea? Because a lot of times, like, the women don't know what the men are doing.
Of course, I was 23 years old.
You were a baby.
And it wasn't like, it wasn't like today, that today everything is like the internet. All the information is out there. And if you don't know him, somebody else does, and Facebook, and somebody will write a comment.
Yeah.
You will get to know. It's so much easier today because there's information, there's knowledge, and knowledge is power. But back in the day, I lived in a bubble.
Yeah.
Like my dad was, a doctor. So was my mom. I went to private school, Catholic school, so did you.
Lourdes. You went to Lourdes, and I went to St. Brendan.
I always wanted to go to St. Brendan because there were guys in St. Brendan.
Yeah, and they were cute too.
And they were cute. And so anyways, so for me, it's like that world to me was like only in Miami Vice. And by the way, I already lived in Madrid. So, me moving to Madrid my senior year kind of like not saved me from going up with even more bad boys, but it kind of like brought me in a different environment. And then I came back to Miami, and I guess I still had that.
You had the bad girl in you.
Yeah.
I remember,
no, I'm a good girl, but I like the bad boys.
Yeah. I remember that we used to see each other at the parties and all that. And then for some reason, I think we bonded, and I don't remember why we bonded. We bonded, and then when you left to Spain, you used to write to me from Spain.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
Can I have the phone?
Oh my God, don't tell me you're going to show me a letter or something that I wrote you, because I'm going to cry.
No, I don't have the letter. I'm so pissed. I can't find my scrapbook.
I remember sitting in Madrid in my apartment writing to you.
Okay, and I'm going to get emotional too. What does this remind you of? Zoom in.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Look at my hand, Miss Adri Cataño. And your address. Oh my God.
And your
Plaza de los Reyes Magos.
Your address.
Oh my God. I'm getting emotional. Airmail, Ramona.
Airmail.
Oh, yes.
And you used to send me the coasters from the bars.
Yeah, so you could
see. Yes.
Oh,
and then you would ask me,
my friend.
I love you. You would ask me about the clubs and have you seen so-and-so?
Right.
And about the specific guys. Yes. We're not going to say who they are now.
We're not going to say names, but you know who you are.
Maybe they're in jail or I don't know if they're dead or what. But
no, hopefully they're thriving.
I hope so.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
And I remember that you would ask me for the guys and what's new, and then you would tell me like the clubs that you're going to, and you would send the actual coasters from all the pubs.
Yes.
Because in Madrid, like there's a lot of pubs. Yes. It's different.
No, and I didn't need a fake ID. I was 17 years old because over there you can go to the clubs and everything at 16. Yeah. So I felt so free. I was like in my element.
Yeah.
I was like going to all the clubs, no IDs. I knew all the bartenders, all the bouncers. We're great at getting into all the places.
Of course, especially you being so tall and beautiful, And then which one was the club that you used to go to a lot in Spain?
Joy Eslava.
That one was famous.
Yes.
I never went because I went to Spain when I was little. I was 11.
Oh, we have to go again.
Can we
have
go?
to do a girls trip there.
Yes.
I'm telling you. Madrid is a
She's
beautiful
just promised,
city.
no te pierdas, because then she like takes off and she gets so busy.
Right. No. But that's a really good trip for us.
Yeah, let's go.
For sure. Yeah. De verdad que lo vamos a hacer.
Vamos a hacer.
It's great. And, it reminds me, I went there for my senior year, and I did 3 years of undergraduate in the American University. And then my mom lived there for so many years. That it has so many memories. I'm so connected to that city.
And you know your way around. It's like your second home.
100%.
Oh, I would feel great going with you because I'm a chicken.
Yeah,
you know your way around perfect. Mira, pero I think that they sent you there because you were misbehaving.
Yeah, I mean, not misbehaving in a bad way.
They didn't like your crowd.
They didn't like my crowd.
My mom didn't like my crowd, so she took me out of public school because here you see me very classy. Right? But I went to a bunch of public schools and I used to fist fight.
Yeah, I feel like you fist fight?
Yes.
No,
I used to fist fight.
Guapa. Oh, I like that Vita. You're guerrera like me.
Yeah, ghetto. We have a little ghetto in us.
No, let's call it. But that's good.
Okay.
We have to be.
But, I mean, that Adriana's gone. And then my mom was like, I don't like this. And she sent me to St. Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I vaguely remember you telling me, you know, my parents don't like who I'm hanging out with.
Mm-hmm.
And then
So my mother had the opportunity to open an office in Madrid. And we used to go there for the summers. And then my mom ran into one of her doctor friends that she had gone to medical school with in Cuba and then in Spain. And he told her, why don't you come and join my office? And we worked together. He was also a psychiatrist. And my mom's like, you know what? Miami is not good right now. That's when the Mariel happened in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, my mom tampoco was such a great, you know, example.
We've
I
had
love
this
her,
conversation.
but you know, my mom was married and divorced 5 times.
My mom too,
Yeah.
6 times.
6.
And now she's been married for 30 years.
It's their fault. That's why we're all messed up. That's
I
why
know,
we like
right?
the bad boys. And no, for real. Oh my God, 6 times. So
Yeah.
my mom 5 times. My mom
Yeah.
was a cougar when nobody was a cougar.
My
Like,
mom
they didn't even know what that was.
My mom was a cougar where nobody knew
Yeah.
she was a cougar.
It was
what
like,
a cougar was.
and I was like
Yeah.
so embarrassed by it because like
too.
I didn't get it. I was like,
Me too.
why do you like these like young guys that are closer in age to me? Like, by the way, my 5th stepfather, my 4th stepfather, because my dad was my first, you know, my father, and then the other ones were my stepfathers. But
How many did you? You had 5. You
yeah,
had 4.
but he counted because I loved him a lot, and he's the godfather of my children. Was younger than my second husband and then my sister's husband.
Really?
Yeah, my mom's husband for 17
Why
years
not?
was
She-
younger. My stepdad was younger than my own husband.
It
Yeah.
kept her young. It kept her
It
young at
did.
heart.
My mom was very young at heart. She was very smart. She was, you know, and I think that she was like, she thought like a guy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
She was like, ella pensaba como un hombre, which is,
She was very in
kinda-
her masculine energy.
yes, she was. I think somebody here earlier was saying that they had masculine energy. And I think that that's very attractive, you know, in some ways, but you also have to have like that, you know, feminine side. You have to let the man, you know, be the
Lead you.
man when, you know, when he has to be, but, you know, always taking consideration, you know, the woman. And so I had that example, like I told you, like my mom was
Yeah.
like the provider, you know, she was the badass. She was very hardworking. She loved her career. And sometimes I even questioned whether she loved her career more than us. So, you know, it was like different times. And then my grandmother, we were like fortunate enough to have my grandmother was very, very caring,
nice.
very nurturing. She cooked amazing. And, you know, she dedicated her life to us. So I think, so we had that combination. And then, you know, we had my dad that, you know, was always fighting with my mom because, you know, he wanted us also. So it's like everybody was fighting for us and we had so much love, you know, from like
Yeah.
my dad and my dad's side of the family, from my mom, my grandmother. So in all this dysfunction and chaos, we grew up with a lot of love.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, which I think is like my soft, you know, spot and, you know, loving and kind and empathetic.
And when you love hard. I know that when
I
you
do.
love hard,
Yeah.
amiga.
I mean, look at me. I'm still dealing with it. I do. You know, I do everything like from the heart. And, you know,
Yeah.
maybe they haven't been, you know, according to people, you know, the best decisions. But, you know, my decisions have always been more from my heart
From
than
your
from
heart.
my head, from my brain.
yeah.
You know, and I think that will never change. You know, obviously I'm more aware now and I don't want to change the way that I am because, you know, I like how I am. You know, I think it's good. But, you know, I do admit that, you know, sometimes when you're too much about the heart, you make decisions that after you don't regret, because I don't regret any of my
Yeah,
decisions.
you
know,
wouldn't
for me,
be
they've
who
been
you are.
lessons. Yeah, and they've been lessons, and you know, I love my life, and I accepted everything, and learned from it. But you know, I'm gonna continue to love like from my heart. Actually, I'm working
love
on a
that.
book, and it's probably gonna be a title that's gonna be like that, because everything I do is really like from the heart. That's why
Yeah.
I can't be, and that's why you see that on the show. I'm very authentic. Like I think that's even like a meme or a line or something going around, because you know, I always say like I don't even need a receipt. Like I have it in my heart.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't even like take pictures. I've been with like famous people, and I'm like, I don't even need a picture because I have it in my heart. Like, you know
Right.
what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, not one of these people that's gonna like, you know, kiss and tell, or that needs to take notes or receipts. Because, you know, I like to live it and know it, and it's good as long as I have it in my heart.
Yeah. And so going back to the 80s, when you were faced with your first husband going to jail and you had to stay alone with the kids, how did you make it? Like,
That was hard.
Yeah.
That was so hard. Like I had lost my father, and then finally I have some happiness in my life, and I'm in love with this man, and this happens. And I'm like, I was like in shock. I didn't know what to do with myself. My mom had just moved back to Madrid because my mom was here for a while in Miami. But you know, my mom, Miami started changing a lot, and she was so happy in Madrid, and she really wanted us to stay there. She wanted us to have a life there because she thought our life would be healthier and better there. She was afraid that we were going to come to Miami and end up with one of these like Miami guys, and and not have the life that she wished for us. So my mom went back to Madrid, and her hopes were always that I was going to move with her. And then I met the dad, and then that happened.
And that must have been a nightmare for her, right?
Oh yeah,
that's exactly what she was trying to.
Because he was very, he's very nice and pleasant, and he was so handsome, and the whole thing. So it was, like my mom told me, like, I understand why you fell in love with him. I just don't know what you're still doing with him. Like, there has to be, because my mom would get rid of them, like, like of nothing. But for me, it's really hard. Like, it's really hard. I still have a great relationship with him, and he's a great dad. And that's what I'm saying about, like, if anybody has a great heart, it's this man. It's the father of my kids. Very bad head. He's made very poor decisions that have affected him, that he's had to pay for, have affected my children, has affected our family. And yeah, but I only wish him well because he's a very good person.
How long was he in jail the first time?
He was only 4.5 years.
Okay.
I mean, I'm saying only because considering the charges, what he was being charged with.
What were the charges? I don't remember.
Well, I think it's a conspiracy to distribute, like I don't know how many tons of cocaine.
Wow.
But if you watch Cocaine Cowboys, you can get all the facts there.
I watched it and I forgot. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it again. I should have watched it last night. But
so I did that too, just like for him. You know what I mean? It's not like I was part of it or anything like that. I mean, I was like, I don't like to say victim because I don't like to use the word victim. But I was like guilty by association. Like I'm still being judged because I fell in love. Like I got nothing from this except a heartache, like except pain.
I don't think anyone is judging you. Right. I am not gonna judge you for that.
Right.
We all made mistakes. Who cares about them?
Right.
Nobody's perfect. Right. Everyone, listen, we all fall short of the glory of God. The only perfect person that ever existed was Jesus Christ. And every single person, I don't care how many times you go to church, how good you are, how many charities you donate to, how faithful you are to your wife or your husband. Like we all fall short of the glory of God, so no one can criticize you. No one has a right to criticize anybody. Because we all have things in our past that we regret too.
And I feel like people learning need lessons. To be more compassionate about, before they talk about other people and judge other people, like you didn't walk in their shoes.
Exactly.
And, that's why maybe because I've gone through so many things in my life, I don't judge people. And I always try to put myself in their situation and say there has to be a reason.
Yeah.
And, that's how I live my life. But it was so hard because like I told you, I had lost my dad and I was finally happy, had some joy in my life, super in love with him. We're like engaged to be married and this happens. And this is something I've obviously never had to deal with in my life before.
Yeah.
And
being so young.
Yes. Like, exactly. Yeah. And my family not being here, I was basically on my own. And
with
then
the baby,
he gets out of jail.
with the babies.
I wasn't pregnant yet.
Oh.
They released him and we're not, he wasn't supposed to be released. And I had stopped drinking my birth control pill because my sister's like, well, he's in jail. And my sister used to give me my birth control pills, by the way. Because my sister was like, the mature one, like, the
responsible one.
The responsible one. So when that happened, my mom had left back to Madrid. And then my mom used to leave us like the prescriptions for the pill.
Don't get pregnant.
Exactly. Every month. So that she did do. So she would give them to my sister and then my sister would give them to me. But since unfortunately the dad was arrested, she's like, okay, you're not going to be needing it. And like 3 months later, he calls me and he's like, come pick me up. He was like out of jail. So of course that night I got pregnant. And so then, I'll share more about all that stuff and, in my book. But yeah, 9 months later, I was like, I had a baby. And he had to turn himself in 3 months later at 3 months. And that was,
that's
I still remember that day, like I tell you. It was really heartbreaking. Those 3 months that he was, out before he turned himself in, he was, an excellent dad. He literally was like, it was his baby. Like, I even questioned, like, are you sure you don't have a kid? Because, like, how do you know how to do all this? Because I was, like, freaking out. I thought that he was like a doll. Like, I didn't even know what to do to him.
Really?
To Peter, yeah. To Peter Jr. But anyways, so then he was in there for 4.5 months. I waited for him. And I was a school teacher. I went, I finished my education. I really wanted to go to law school, and I was accepted into law school. But because all this was going on, and thank God there wasn't even, I could have done it because I was so like embarrassed that I was dealing through this legal thing.
Yeah.
And going through this, and like, how can I even be like an attorney when I'm like married to a criminal? Like, I don't know, like for me in my head at that age, it didn't work. So I went back to school and I got my master's in special ed, and I started working as a school teacher.
See, that's a side that you guys don't know about Alexia. Like, that's a very kind and pathetic side, and it takes a special person to go to school for special ed children.
Yes. That is so true, because I started volunteering actually while I was doing my master's. I did my master's in Barry, and I started volunteering in some schools that had the special centers and had the special classes. And I fell in love with the kids there. I was like, oh my God, I wanted to adopt them all. I wanted to take them. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to do my master's in special ed. And as soon as I finished, I started teaching. And I was a single mom with Peter. So I had to take, Peter to the babysitter and then drive all the way like super far. To Kensington, to Shenandoah. No, and the most difficult part about it was that nobody knew. I was trying to hide that my husband was in jail.
But you know what? In a way, it's good that social media was not a thing, so you were
Thank
able
God.
to hide it.
Yeah, because back in the day,
I had no idea.
Remind me, no, but back in the day, neither did I. But back in the day, you didn't want people to know your stuff. It's not like today that everybody's posting everything. They're crying, something happened, and they're going to post it. They're happy, they're posting it.
Yeah, they're in surgery, they're posting it.
I mean,
Someone
what is
died,
that?
they're
like
posting
in
it.
church and they're posting it. I'm like, it's so rude and disrespectful, and it's kind of like, I don't live my life like that. I actually have social media because I have to, but I mean, if I wanted to, I could be all day. And I think it's funny that they criticize me that I'm on a reality TV show and I share so much. I'm like, well, what about you? You're on social media. At least I'm getting paid for it. But I'm like, you're on social media just doing all this, So back in the day, luckily, there was none of that.
And you were able to
hide it. And even
excuse
from
me,
my own kids.
1 second. I'm sorry to interrupt. How old were you when you were pregnant with your first son?
25.
25. Okay. You were young. You were young.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was 20. I mean, I actually gave birth to him at 25, so I was 24.
Wow.
So that was very young. And
so you were able to hide it?
yeah, I was able to, well, the fact that he was in jail for 4.5 years. Yeah, I mean, after some people say, well, we thought it was kind of weird because we never saw him. I was like, and I would tell my son Peter that his dad was in school, like in university.
Because he was asking, obviously, eventually he asked you, where's
Daddy? And we would
Daddy?
go see him everywhere. We would go all the different jails that he was at. You know, he was in a federal prison. So, you know, the accommodations were a little different. So, you know, some of them looked like it could be a university, at least in Peter's head. In little Peter's head, he believed it. And, you know, that's how it was. And I never had the conversation with him about his dad being there until I started the reality TV show in 2010. And by the way, he's like, Mom, I already knew.
Of course,
And
he
I
knew
started
already.
crying
You did?
because the kids at school told him in 6th grade.
Oh my gosh,
They
my
had
daughter
told
suffered
me-
a lot with that too. But
Yes.
like on the other side, stuff about her dad because you know he's
Of course.
a celebrity and all that. But
Yeah.
but
You know, the kids could be cruel, but, you know, I hid it from him for so
did
many
he get
years.
bullying? For
No,
that?
not because they thought it was cool. They're like, oh my God, your dad, you know, you're from Miami. So like your dad was
Cocaine
that.
cowboys.
Yeah. So and I was like, no, we're not going to glorify that. That's not okay.
Okay, good. You taught them.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we don't think it's cool. We don't think it's, you know, that was, you know, something to be proud about. But, you know, you have to understand also that's the only thing that Dad knew. He was born into the family. He was born into that. He doesn't know anything else. That
He
was
didn't
up to
have
his
other
parents
skills.
and his family to educate him, and they didn't do that. They said, here you go. This is, you know, in their way, they thought they were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Who better than, you know, our nephew or our what would he be? Because he was married to El Cuñado.
Can we say who we're talking about?
I mean, you can.
Willie
you can say-
Falcon. We're
right.
talking about Willie Falcon. He was introduced to the drug dealing business and illicit business through Willie Falcon
his
because
sister
was married
to his brother David.
Yeah.
So, you know, even that I can't even be mad at him because, you know, he was born into that. He was, you know, 12, 13 years old. He was already, you know, seeing the business.
I had an ex mobster on one of the podcasts, Anthony Ruggiano Jr. His father was Fat Andy, and he used to work with John Gotti. And he was sitting here explaining to all of us, you know, to production and to us, how he had no choice.
Right.
He was born into it, and that's all he knew.
Right.
It was very normal. to
Right.
him.
Well, they died the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was pretty much. So I'm not making excuses or anything, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know, you have to like understand like the background and the whole backstory to see why, you know, and how, you know, he got involved.
Right.
But, you know, I was like clueless to all this. Like, I'm just like a Catholic school girl with my
Yeah.
mom's a doctor. So is my dad. I grew up like very sheltered and protected. And all of
Yeah.
a sudden I'm like with like a mobster,
Yeah.
you know, with a criminal. I'm like, what is this?
What did you think he did? Like he had legit businesses.
So yeah, they had legit
They always do.
businesses, and he had a very nice, loving family. I loved his family, and like I said, I was looking for like that love.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went through like my mom moving to Spain, losing my dad, losing my dad, then losing the dad in jail, then losing my mom. Not losing, but I mean like I was always very close to them, and they were here.
Yeah.
My dad passed away. The dad went to jail, and my mom moved to Madrid, like all like in 2 or 3 years.
That's traumatic.
And I was 23 years old. So it was like
Yeah.
a lot, you know, for me to handle.
So going back to your ex-husband, you got
Which one?
The first one. You
Okay.
get along great, and has he been able to turn his life around?
You know, as much as these, you know, I don't think he ever had the capacity to
Okay.
turn it around. You know, what people don't understand is like the kind of life that he had and what he was used to for so many years. And then you're in prison, like you don't know what prison does to you. Like, you know, you lose respect even like for yourself. There's people, you know, that do turn it around. In his case, I don't think he had the capacity to do it. I don't think he ever did.
Is he in jail now?
No,
or
no,
is,
he's not. Thank
Okay,
God.
okay,
No,
thank
no.
God.
Thank
Because
God,
that would be
'cause
bad
he's
for
a
your
great
boys.
father, and you know, Peter and Frankie love him, and he's a great person. I mean, it se quita lo que no tiene to give it to you. You know what I
Okay.
mean? He just has a great, kind heart. He never says no. He's always in a good mood. You know, he's always happy, and he's the father of my kids. You know, and I'm so glad that I never, you know, I could have been that kind of mom that said, you know, you're not going to be involved in my kid's life, because I
Yeah.
had full custody of my kids. You know, when he went in, I got full custody of Peter because he was sentenced to 25 years. And then when I had Frankie, we were already legally divorced, but we were still together. I feel like I do that a lot. So I'm kind of like in that same position right now. And Herman, because he passed away, if you know, God knows if I would have
Yeah.
been with Herman too. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like so weird, my life.
Hi. But you know, your life is like for a movie. Have you ever thought of like writing the screenplay after the book?
Maybe.
Because it's been a fascinating life, Alexia.
Oh, yeah. That's because it was
Like-
in yours.
Well, I
you
have
know
my
what?
drama. I
I've
have my
learned
drama
to-
too,
right.
but not to that
You
point.
have- no,
Not
but
to that
you know
point.
what? I've learned to, and I think that that's like a gift that I have had, that I've learned to like love my life, be proud of it instead of ashamed, because I was ashamed for many years, and that's what a lot of people don't know. I was ashamed of everything. I was ashamed of my mom being married all those years, about situations with my dad. You know, I was ashamed about like my family life. You know, I have a brother that's a half brother. But back in the day, you wouldn't see that either.
Oh,
Like,
I didn't know that. This is something that people have never heard.
yes.
You have a half
A
brother
half of a
on
half
your
brother.
father's side.
No, my mom. It's
On
my
your
mom's
mom's?
mom, but he had a different father than us. But we love him just like if he was, you know.
Okay.
I don't like to say my real brother, because to me he's my real brother.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Same
But
parents,
back
like if
in
you had the
day-
same parents.
Right. But I never called him a half brother like they do today or
Yeah.
whatever. Like to me, he was my brother, and he still is today. But no, so you know, I had like all those little traumas that I guess have, you know, kind of like affected, you know, my life and the decisions that I've made, you know, because of that childhood trauma
Yeah.
that was never fixed.
Yeah,
Because
we
I
have
was
to-
too busy fixing the guys instead of fixing myself.
Exactly. Don't fix anybody, ladies. Don't waste your
No,
time.
that is that message. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're not a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no, you're not a therapist. And so now let's fast forward a little bit to Herman,
Mm-hmm.
because Herman, I would see you with Herman and I would say he's like a father figure.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like a very well-liked person in the city, and he
Yeah, I
helped a
love
lot of
that.
people.
I
And
love that.
made-
He was also a great man with a super kind heart. He would help everyone and anyone. He was just like full of love, full of like, he was born to do that, to just service people, to help people.
and so charismatic.
Yes. Very
Herman
charismatic.
was so like, you walked in the room and Herman was there, and Herman was like
He had such a strong presence.
Yes, yes, and I miss the cover parties.
Yes.
The venue cover parties were
Yeah, that was
the
his
best.
idea. He loved to party.
Really.
Oh my God. Like
Yeah, he
Herman
did.
was
He did.
super
He did.
fun.
He did.
He loved people. He loved una fiesta. Even sometimes we would, because he wanted it like every month, every time like we had a cover. And I would be like, no, can we just like skip one? Because it was like a lot of work, those parties. And but he loved the party. He loved the people.
Do you miss him?
We do miss him. Frankie misses him a lot. And we do miss him a lot. I think about it. And that was the other thing too. I went from like losing, also like Herming passing away and kind of like getting into another relationship pretty quickly. And you have to have time to heal.
Yes.
And I just think like I've never really healed from anything until now. Because I worked on myself the last 2 years, but also as a result of a separation,
and it's never
from my husband, from my third husband.
You are the best example of that. It's never too late to really auto-examine ourselves and realize that we have to heal ourselves in order to move on in life.
Oh yeah,
and to have good relationships.
I was not doing that again after this separation. The last one, I said, "There's no way in hell I want to see a man." Now I understand women that say that. I don't want to be in a relationship. I want a relationship with myself, and that's what I did. I had a relationship with myself. I got to know myself. It's uncomfortable. It's freaking uncomfortable.
When you're used to always having a relationship, it's uncomfortable.
And
I can
being
imagine.
around people, like sitting with yourself and then kind of like self-reflecting and just, seeing how your whole life has played out. It's tough and, it's painful, but you have to be ready for it. And I guess now I was ready for it because I said, there's no way I'm going to kind of like escape that. And just fall into another relationship because that would mean like I haven't learned my lessons. And you kind of keep on attracting like the same thing.
It's the same pattern over and over again. And
even though my men have all been very different, like
they've
different.
been very different.
Yeah, very different physically, like emotionally, intellectually, in every way. They've been like very different because I'm very like about the connection.
You're not.
I don't have a
type.
certain type. No.
Neither do I. We have a lot in common. Yeah. Our moms, the bad boys, we have a certain type.
No, we don't, but there are men and women that do have a type.
Yes.
I don't. And it's not even physical and not with the personality either because they've all had different personalities. But I do like a big personality and I do like them to be smart.
I remember that Herman did not like to be on Housewives of Miami. Talk to us a little bit about how you got on the show.
I don't think any of them like to be. I don't think there's any husbands that like to be on Housewives of Miami. They get a beating. It's not fair to them. Like we sign up for the show and then they're the ones that get like disliked and, get like a lot of like not nice comments.
Because I remember seeing him and he would even get like, oh, he was dismissive. Like he was like, oh,
I mean, he secretly liked it because I'm not going to lie. I feel like all the men kind of liked the fame
attention
and the attention that it brings. And, Herman was always very proud of me. So he was like, oh, like you did this on your own and you got this. Because, I was, there was a casting process. It wasn't like.
How did you get it? And how did you feel when they told you that you were going to be on this show? And did you know that it was going to be so controversial?
I came across the opportunity of trying out for the Housewives because my son Peter was trying out for another reality TV show.
Okay.
That showcased like high school, like rich, entitled kids. Cute kids, y esto que lo otro. And then that never had, so I would drop them off and they would see me. It was the same casting director. And they were like, oh, is that your mom? Oh, like, can we talk to your mom? And then Peter was like, Mom, I think they're trying out, they're casting a show in Miami and blah, blah, blah. And they want to talk to you. I was like, well, you're already trying out for this show. I'm not going to be trying out for another show. Whatever. That show never went anywhere because us parents, didn't want to destroy our children's life. I said, I'll destroy my life, Peter, but I don't want you to destroy yours. So basically, I'm kidding about that because, it hasn't been that, the thing is that you have to take responsibility with that.
No, but he was a minor. You don't want a minor doing a reality show. That would be detrimental.
And those contracts are very like one-sided.
Yep, they sure are.
And whatnot. So, so that show went nowhere. And then that's when the casting director called me again and said, please, we're still casting for Miami and please give us the opportunity. And then I'm very spiritual like you. And I swear I was at the gym. And my trainer was very spiritual. She was a woman. And she's like, oh, God's talking to me. And I said, well, she's like, what's going on with you? And I was like, oh, because I had to make the decision. It was the last day. And my friend Loretta was trying out. And she wanted to go with me. And I go, Loretta, if I go with you for emotional support and they see me, they're going to make me sit in the chair and cast.
Yeah.
She's like, no. Like, they want me. Like, I'm doing, they were looking good for a dentist. Then they ended up with another dentist, remember?
Karen.
Yeah. But this was like before. This was our season 1.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so I went with her, and basically when they saw me, I sat down and I started talking like I do with my hands and moving all over.
Very Miami. Very Miami.
Right. And I was like, and by the way, my husband doesn't know I'm here because Herman didn't know. I did this all like on my own because I'm like, what are the chances that they're going to pick me?
Yeah.
I'm like, and my mom was like, you know what, mija, you go, like, so you can have your experience. You know, you don't have to tell Herman. I was like, okay, that's why you're divorced 5 times. And he's like, you don't have to tell Herman anything. Total, you don't know if they're going to pick you or whatever. So I did go for the experience. And I leave there. I'll never forget. And we go have lunch. And I hadn't even like gotten the menu. And the producer was already calling me.
Of course. Have you seen yourself in the mirror?
No, but it's not about that. It wasn't even like
but
about looks.
Your
it's
experience
like,
and how you talk and everything.
Right.
Is
Well, you know what they loved? Controversial. That my husband didn't know I was there. That's where I messed up. Because they're like,
no, you didn't mess up. That's how you got booked.
Right. So anyways, so then I remember them saying, well, you know, you need to tell your husband because we need to go to your house tomorrow. We want to meet your family. And I'm like, my family? I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, so that's how it happened. The next day they came to my house. I remember they had come from Larsa's house. And they got there super late. My mom was still there. And I was like, Mommy, tu culpa. Like, you told me to do it and whatever. My mom was there because my mom was always going back and forth from Madrid to Miami. And every time she was leaving, she was like, ya no vengo más a Miami. So we would do a going away party for her. And Herman adored her. Like, Herman and my mom were super close. And we were having this beautiful party for her with catering and music and everything that Friday night. And the producers were in my house. And I was like, I told you guys had to leave, blah, blah, blah. So they came in and then, you know, Herman, you know, gave them a few words because he was reluctant to do it. But then they're like asking him questions. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, now you like it. And you know, we were like, so they started seeing like the energy in your house between your partner and the kids. And like a few weeks later, they called me and they said you were selected. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, what do I do now? And, you know, the thing with Herman was like, you know, he's a businessman. And these shows can really like, not ruin because, you know, you have a credibility and not just a show or a rumor or something is going to like ruin your reputation. But, you know, you can't have any skeletons in the closet. Yeah. And who in Miami doesn't have a skeleton in the closet?
Exactly. You're right.
Yeah. So, you know, so he knew that was coming. And, you know, I didn't because, you know, I've always been clueless. Thank God, you know, you'll be in my whole little world. Yeah. And, you know, it keeps me sane. It keeps me happy. And, you know, I don't want anybody to like burst my bubble. And that doesn't mean I'm dumb because I'm not. But, you know, you are naive towards certain things, especially when you're in them. Yeah. You know, you don't see what other people see.
You're in the situation and then you have to like kind of like step away from the situation to say, oh, yeah,
but
who
does that? When do you step out of the situation? When you're forced to do it. Yeah. Like willingly, a lot of, you know, that doesn't really happen. Yeah. But, and he was also concerned at that time. My children, you know, my kids were still young.
You're
Frankie
talking about
was 12, 13 years old.
His sexuality, right? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I didn't know that. Oh, Neither did he. But I guess
that was always
inside,
the rumor.
Well, I mean, there was a girl that said that. But, you know, there's a lot of rumors in these shows. Yeah. So, you know, we can't always believe the rumors in the show. But in this case, 11, 12 years later, it was true.